This is KBOI 2 News Midday.
Good morning and thanks for joining us for KBOI 2 News Midday. I'm Rick Douglas. Now to your top 11 stories at 11. One person is dead following a shooting in Nampa. Police say they received reports of shots fired about a quarter after 11 last night. It happened in the 400 block of 1st Street North. When officers arrived, they found a 26-year-old Nampa man already dead. Police say they are looking for a suspect but have not released a description. No word yet on what led up to the shooting. On the heels of a breakthrough in arms talks in London, Republican senators this morning warned Iran that any deal made with President Obama could last only as long as he remains in office. And that marks an unusual intervention for Congress in U.S. foreign policy making. A letter signed by 46 senators points out that the president leaves office in January of 2017, while many in Congress will remain in Washington long after that. Yesterday, the line stretched out the door at Fuddruckers in Meridian. Folks eager to take part in the 6th annual Free Burger Day to benefit the Boise Rescue Mission. That meant a free meal of a 1/3 pound burger with cheese, also fries and a soft drink. Of course, the idea was that customers wouldn't just grab a free meal and go. Fuddruckers wanted folks to make donations to the rescue mission. But the bigger question, will there be a 7th Free Burger Day?
This is the last day for Fuddruckers here, and just wanted to encourage other businesses and people in the Boise Valley to fill this gap for them and to keep it going over the years. And we appreciate it a bunch.
No word yet what the Boise Rescue Mission will do with the closing of Fuddruckers. Obviously, they'll need to find a new Treasure Valley business to help fill the donation gap. And while we're talking about local businesses closing, one of the first to bring craft beer to the Treasure Valley has shut its doors. Saturday was the last day for Bottle Shop Brewphoria in Meridian. Owner Tatiana Martz told KBOI she's not getting out of the beer business altogether. She just wants to concentrate on festivals full time. Martz says she might open a bottle shop in Nevada later this year, but details are still bottled up. The Iditarod begins today, but it'll start in a different place than normal. The classic sled dog race usually begins in the small town of Willow, Alaska, but there's not enough snow there this year. So the race will begin 300 miles north in Fairbanks. The ceremonial start of the race was last weekend in Anchorage, where crews had to truck in snow so the sleds could run in the street. This is just the second time in more than 40 years that the race has had to be moved. Idaho is near the top of a list when it comes to particulates from wood smoke. The EPA says Idaho is the 8th worst offender when it comes to pollution from wood-burning stoves. Oregon and Washington are 7th and 9th, respectively. The three states share chilly winter climates, a tradition of wood burning, and lots of federal forests to supply the wood. Utah also struggles with pollution from wintertime burning. Their legislature tried to ban all wood burning during winter months, but then nixed it after residents objected. A Seattle missionary who was kidnapped while working in Nigeria has been released. Armed men took Phyllis Sorter last month and demanded a huge ransom from her family. It is not clear how her freedom was secured, but officials at her home church said her release was negotiated by a family representative. Police say the men who kidnapped Sorter were most likely not part of a terrorist organization. Well, one city government in Washington state is getting into the marijuana business. The town of Northbonneville in the Columbia River Gorge has opened a pot store that's owned by the city government. It is the first of its kind in the U.S. The city says it could bring in as much as $200,000 a year. That's about 20% of Northbonneville's entire budget.
So when we brought it up, a lot of the citizens were against it, but as soon as they saw the good it was going to do, the city's going to make money, pretty much everybody got on board. There's still some people who oppose it, and I'm okay with that.
Northbonneville plans to use the money to fund public health and safety projects, including hiking trails and a new playground at the city park. Today, Apple unveils its much-anticipated Apple Watch. The launch marks Apple's first new product category since it unveiled the iPad 5 years ago. So what makes the watch different? Well, it's basically an accessory to the iPhone 5 or 6. It'll have a fitness tracker, connect you to Apple Pay, and maybe even allow you to use it as a remote control for smart home devices. But it's not cheap at $349, and it won't ship until April. General Motors plans to buy back some of its stock to appease some of its shareholders. This morning, the automaker announced a $5 billion stock buyback. The move comes amid concerns from some shareholders about how GM is using its cash. One shareholder, hedge fund manager Harry Wilson, says he'll no longer seek a seat on GM's board as a result of that buyback. A Swiss solar-powered plane took off from Abu Dhabi early this morning, marking the start of the first attempt to fly around the world without a drop of fuel. Solar energy entrepreneur Andre Borschberg was at the controls. He and his co-pilot will make stopovers on a journey expected to take months. Interesting facts, the solar plane has more than 17,000 solar cells, and its wingspan is larger than that of a 747.